everyone, I'm Lisa Terry. I'm the pastor's wife at the Sweetwater Church of God. Today I want to encourage you, but I especially want to encourage all of those who are workers, leaders, and teachers, even the pastor and other ministers in the church. You're not getting to do some of the things that God has called you to do, and you might have a tendency to get discouraged. Maybe you're a teacher. Maybe you work in children's church. Maybe you teach a Sunday school class. You might be in the choir or on the praise team. Maybe you're an usher. Maybe you're a greeter. You might even be that pastor or that minister, and you're not getting to use the things that God's called you to use. Don't get discouraged. Philippians 1:16 says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Now let's look at Peter for a second. Jesus has been crucified. He's died, he's been buried, but he's risen again. And he meets with his disciples several times after the resurrection. On one occasion, Jesus is on the seashore. His disciples have been out fishing, but they come in, they see Jesus has some fish, they all eat. Then Jesus talks to Peter. And he asks him 3 times, do you love me? Each time Peter says yes. But Jesus says, if you love me, feed my lambs. If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my sheep. What is Jesus trying to say to Peter? Well, he goes on to say something quite odd to Peter. He says, when you were young, you dressed yourself and you went wherever you wanted to go. But when you are old, other people will dress you. You will put out your arm. They will lead you where they want you to go, even to some places you may not want to go. What is Jesus saying to Peter? First of all, he's saying, Peter, you are called. I have called you, and I need you to take care of my flock. I need you to teach them. I need you to care for them. I need you to guide them, protect them, and lead them. But he also says, Peter, you are going to grow to be an old man. Now let's fast forward to Acts chapter 12. The church is being persecuted. As a matter of fact, King Herod has arrested Peter, and he's planning to execute him. He's already executed James, the brother of John, and he's planning to execute Peter after Passover. He's got Peter in prison. 16 soldiers are protecting or guarding Peter. And when Herod calls for Peter to be brought up out of the prison, Peter is found between two soldiers. 2 chains are around Peter, but Peter is asleep. Now, why is Peter asleep? In such chaotic times, why is Peter asleep? How can he be so calm? Why? Because he remembers that Jesus said, you're going to grow to be an old man. And Peter was not an old man yet. So I want to encourage you, whatever God has placed upon you, it doesn't matter what chaos is going on in the world, God will complete the words that he has said over you. Also, let's look at 2 Timothy. Timothy is a pastor, but he is facing some hardships in his ministry. We won't get into what those hardships are, but he is facing some difficulty. His ministry is being threatened. And Paul writes to Timothy and says this, remember to stir up the gifts which is in you through the laying on of my hands. What is Paul saying? He is saying, Timothy, you were called by God. I remember the day that I laid my hands on you, I prayed for you, and I set you forth to go out and minister. Now you're facing some difficulty. There's chaos in your ministry, but I'm telling you, remember to stir up the gifts that were placed upon you. Stir up what God called you to do. What does stir up mean? It means keep alive. It means fan the flame. It means rekindle that gift, that calling that God put upon you. It can also mean rekindle a fresh fire. Get that calling and freshen it up. God is not finished with you yet. That's what Paul is telling Timothy. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter the chaos. It doesn't matter right now if it feels like you're not going to get to do what God's called you to do. He is not finished with you yet, Timothy. Stir up. Kindle up. Kindle a new fire. Put some kindling on it and start a new, fresh fire of that calling. So I'm telling all of you today, stir up the gifts that God has placed upon you. He is not finished with you yet. Even though there's chaos in the world, even though things are different right now, He is still going to use the callings that He has placed upon you. Get ready. It's not over. God is going to fulfill those visions, those promises, those callings that He has placed upon you. God bless you.